Mike Angelino Sports. Oh, man, I got the man, the myth, the legend. I got Jay from Couch Talk. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show.
What's up, man? It's been, well, I can't even say that anymore because we just did an episode and all that like on Saturday. But what's up, bro?
Oh, man, there's a lot of drama going on with the Canelo. You know, the face of boxing, the cash cow, the Uno. There's going to be a lot of shots, arrows shot at him. So, yeah, man, give me the latest. What's going on? He's going to fight Plant. And so we'll get into the drama first. Let's talk about Canelo versus Plant. They're going to fight in November. Am I correct? They're going to fight in November. And, hey, man, this Plant can box. Give me the keys to victory. Is it an easy work, or he's going to box, or how is it going to go? And we'll break it down. Or why am I wasting my time? How about that? Because he's trying to unify, right? To get all the belts. It's going to be the first Mexican ever to unify the belts, right?
Yep. So Plant has that last belt, bro. He wants to get that. He wants to combine all the belts at 168, which is something Mexicans never done at that weight division. You're gonna have to, fact check me. I don't know if anyone, another Mexican in general, has done it before.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he's trying to make history at 168. I mean, when we talk about dream Canelo opponents or people that want Canelo to fight, Plant's definitely not on top of that list. I'll be honest with you, but he does have that last belt for him to make history. And then, Canelo's been honest. He's just like, right now his goal is to collect all those belts and make history. With the whole Callum Smith and then with Saunders and all that, he didn't kind of diss him, but he said that I know that fans are talking shit, but this is what I want to do first, and then we'll get the big fights on after that. But he's just collecting all those belts. Like you said, the last couple of days it's been getting interesting, man. I wasn't really looking forward to this fight, but now I am, because Plant's been doing a lot of shit talking on Twitter and on YouTube videos and all that. And now we have, other people from the outside talking shit, but we'll get to that in a bit. Okay. But I'm starting to look forward to this fight, dude. Freaking, just to kind of see an ass whooping. I feel like Plant really thinks he's better than he really is, which, I mean, you should when you're competing at that level. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight. Nonetheless, I think it's going to be easy work at the end. Plant is the weakest champion at 168 compared to all the other guys that Canelo has fought before, like Saunders and Callum Smith. So I think it should be easy work. I wouldn't be surprised of an early knockout just because Plant's chin has been kind of suspect in prior fights. He has gotten a little dazed. I never seen him get seriously hurt, where he's almost about to hit the floor or anything like that, but I haven't seen him get dazed. So I mean, I really can't see it any other way. I think Canelo easy work.
Okay. And just real quick, man, because I've been hearing this a lot by by people that don't really know boxing, but this is their favorite thing. And I was hanging out at a Canelo fight last time, and one of your friends said it, but I don't want to mention his name. But Canelo can't fight; he has trouble versus boxers. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, that's kind of like you said, it's kind of the casual thing to say. If you haven't really been breaking down Canelo fights in the past, from say 2014.
Give me a couple examples real quick.
All right, so when people say that Canelo can't really fight boxers or because he's flat-footed or whatever, they're kind of pointing to either the Floyd Mayweather fight, who's one of the greatest of all time, and Canelo fought him when he was a little bit, dehydrated. He had to go down to 152, which I feel isn't talked about enough. But that's kind of the things that come in boxing, right? When you're fighting the cash cow, you got to, kind of meet his standards, and he's going to call all the shots. And also, he was still 23 years old, still young in the game. People are going to say, well, we already had, 40-something fights. That's not an excuse. I mean, at a high level, when you're fighting Floyd at 23, that's not the best idea. But, he took up the challenge, and we saw what happened. But he learned from it. He did a little better against Lara, even though there was still a lot that we wanted to see from that. But since those fights, we kind of see the development in the last couple of years, especially. I was watching it the other day too, or I was watching it yesterday, the rematch of the Triple G, Canelo fight, where he was, walking Triple G down the whole fight, in the middle of the ring, wasn't backing down, wasn't trying to box. And we saw those little, he didn't really have to cut off the ring, But we saw him moving forward, using his head movements to, set up Triple G feints and all that. And then we saw that even get even better with the Saunders fight, who I think is a way better version of Caleb Plant. Unlike Plant, Saunders is a pretty big 168. I think eventually if he keeps fighting, I think it's just a matter of time before he goes to 175. I already know he's like 30, 31 years old already. But I think in a couple of years, if he keeps fighting, I think he'll eventually end up at 175 because he's so big compared to Plant, who's really skinny. But we saw in the Plant fight, and then we talked about this already. I'm sorry, in the Saunders fight, is there's kind of like two different styles of aggressors, right? There's the Triple G type, the Mike Tyson fight, who's great at cutting off the ring with footwork, gonna throw relentless shots, go to the body, just be nonstop pressure. Margarito was great for that. Just gonna be on you, might be willing to take a shot or two just to land one, but they're just constantly putting pressure and knows how to cut off the ring. Mm-hmm. Canelo is a different type of aggressor, and he's improved in the fact that he's more patient and he's not going to throw, 100 punches around, which people might like. And then people see that and be like, oh, he sucks at cutting off the ring or he can't fight against boxers. But he's one of those who throughout the fight, he's going to lay those traps, right? Those landmines. So he's going to be patient because he's going to go to the body, set traps with feints, footwork, throw a jab, change levels, throw different things at you that over time or over the next couple of rounds, you're going to get tired because of the body shots and you're going to get tired physically and mentally, right? Because you don't know what's coming at you. And that's when you start making mistakes. And since Canelo's so good defensively as well, where you see him, he's right in front of you, but he's making you miss with his head movement, the waist movement and all that. And when you miss and you reach and you're out of position, guess what he does? Counters you from either with an uppercut, overhand, straight shot. So those are different types of ways that, he's been improving over the past couple of years against better boxers. I mean, people always point to I get arguments on Twitter and all that, he can't fight a boxer. Look against the Laura fight, it was a robbery or whatever.
A long time ago.
That shit was 7 years ago. He was 24, I mean, and then Laura is one of those fighters who he won't throw a combination to save his life. 1-2 and he's I don't even call that really boxing. I kind of stand watching Laura. It's just 1-2, and then I'm gonna run around the ring for as much as I can. But he has gotten better in that aspect where he's better at going forward. Obviously, his strength is combination punching. When you come to him, he's gonna counter you, and you expect a firefight. But to say that he can't fight boxers anymore is kind of an ignorant thing to say.
Yeah, and you know what you're telling me? It reminded me when Canelo was after the Valdez's fight, his last fight a week ago, or whatever. He told them, "Hey man, you got to be patient with guys like that, with guys that are running and countering you. You got to stay with the earmuffs and start hitting the body first. Work the body first. You don't have to throw 100 combinations. What you just said, you don't have to throw a whole bunch of shots. Work the body, hurt him in the body. Now you can work upstairs and give some feints, change levels. So that's exactly what you're saying. And that reminded me what he was giving about this a pep talk. He was kind of like giving him he was giving him some real feedback, and he didn't pull any punches. And Valdez took it, man, because he knows Canelo knows what he's talking about. And Canelo's, come on, man. He has one of the highest IQ in the game, or the highest IQ in the game right now. All right, so yeah, man. Plant's never been there. Canelo has more fights than more knockouts than Plant has fights. Never been to the big dance. But one thing that I'm respecting Plant, what I'm respecting is Plant, the psychological warfare, because that's part of the game. And he's going with Andre Ward to get that knowledge. Do you think that would help him, the psychological warfare and the knowledge he's acquiring from Andre Ward, which is he was the 168 king a few years back? What do you think?
Yes and no, depending on the approach that Plant takes. If Ward's just showing him little tricks, and then Ward has covered Canelo's fights in the past with ESPN. He wasn't a commentator or anything, but he was there as an analyst for the post fight with ESPN when he talked about Stephen A. I think he talked about he was in the rematch with Golovkin, so he's seen Canelo fight, and I could imagine he was kind of breaking down his game. So Ward's giving him little tips here and there, like, hey, expect this, or he's gonna go to the body, and you're this part of the ring. expect an overhand left, or he knows he's gonna shoot with 2 fake jabs and then go, or stuff like that. That Plant could kind of know and like, all right, I know what to expect. And of course, that's going to be useful. We're talking about high ring IQs. I mean, Ward's up there with the best of them, just like Canelo. Mm-hmm. But if Ward's trying to turn Plant into him in a way and like trying to make him fight his style, I think that's going to backfire, just because, one, if you're changing your style, or not even changing your style, but if you're trying to add stuff to your game, that's stuff that you want to do against, a B plus C level fighter, right? Where like it's kind of a pickup fight or a tune-up fight.
Yeah.
And you want to work on your stuff for like 10, 12 rounds, like an exhibition. But that's something that you don't want to try out or experiment with against a fighter like Canelo. Because if you haven't mastered it, he's gonna take advantage of that, and you're gonna get countered and beat up.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what approach they take. Ward could be telling him, be in his ear, like, hey, like, Canelo likes to do this, or, he's going to try to set you up and watch that overhand right. Or, they could be breaking down film, and he can have him be prepared for the little things, which of course is going to help. But if he's trying to make him fight like him, then it's going to be a long night. That's one, you don't want to try to experiment against Canelo and try to change your fight style.
And what about the psychological warfare? Because it's in boxing. He's on Twitter. He interviews. Hey, man, what's up with now? All of a sudden, this guy grew some big, I don't want to say here, but yeah, man, he grew up here.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing his best to promote the fight, which never hurts, right? Because people see, like, casual fans are gonna see, or people that really don't watch boxing, they're gonna be like, who the hell is Caleb Plant, And so he's giving something people to talk about, right? Like casual, like at the work or whatever. Oh, did you hear what that guy was talking about to Canelo on Twitter or whatever? So I mean, that never hurts. But when it comes to psychological warfare, I mean, Canelo's been in the ring with Floyd, and he did a huge ass promotional event. They went to like 8 different freaking cities, had the press conferences everywhere. So I mean, he's not new to that. And then with the whole like Saunders too, like when it comes to shit talking, I don't think anyone's better than Saunders. Those gypsies over there, they're pretty good. Like, oh, that didn't sound bad or whatever, but like they know how to talk shit, bro. Yeah. Like you see them in soccer and boxing, like they're hardcore boxing fans when it comes to that sport. Just with Mexican, I think like British and Mexicans are like right at the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Saunders couldn't get to Canelo's head. I mean, we saw how that fight ended up. He had a broken face at the end. So, I mean, I don't think it's going to work out for Plant, but like, more power to him. He's giving us some stuff to talk about, and he's getting people, and he could be, getting people excited for that fight. And, it doesn't help with the pay-per-view numbers. So, I mean, why not?
And Canelo was I saw a clip, or it was a picture, I don't know, but Canelo was getting interviewed in a Spanish YouTube channel, whatever. And they asked him, hey, what's up with Andre Ward? He said, I don't worry about Andre Ward, right? He said, I'll fight him the same day. Did you hear something about that?
Yeah, I saw the quote I saw the quote on the internet, and he was like, yeah, he's like, that's fine. When they asked him about Andre Ward, helping out Plant, he's like, that's fine. They could step in, they could step into the ring at the same time, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. So it's just back and forth. I mean, it's not going to face Canelo. Like, he's pound for pound.
Canelo's shooting back. That's the thing, right? He's shooting back.
Yeah, and he's throwing his little metaphors back, but like he's not losing any sleep over it. And then he has the best trainer in the game right now, I think, and Eddie Reynoso. So they have plan A, B, C, D, E, F, etc. lined up. So they know what come November 6th, they'll be ready.
Yeah, you could guarantee that, man. Canelo stays in the gym, so it's not like this guy's not training for him. Dude, if he's training for him, I don't see. Oh man, I mean, if Plant had a little bit of power to get some respect from Canelo, because is Canelo gonna walk him down? Is he gonna chop him up? Is he gonna?
Yeah, see, that's the biggest thing with this fight. Plant, I mean, he has no power at all. I've been watching a couple of fights. What he does have, and I do give him credit for it, is great, timing and accuracy. He'll catch you with that check left hook, or just the left hook in general, and he'll hit it right on the button. Okay. That's when he dropped Jose, and then I'm not gonna even try to say his last name. They fought a couple years back. It was a war. Like he was getting to him at the end, but Plant dropped him twice just on those little check left hooks, and he's done it with other fighters, Andali and other guys like that. Now, obviously, they're not near the level of Canelo, right? But I mean, he does have some skill. I don't know how that whole shoulder roll thing's gonna work for him. It's been working for him, but you know the level of competition is going way up right now. And then like I could see it happening like with an Adrian Bronner type of thing, where Bronner, you know, would use that and he thought he was the next Floyd, and then you know he fought a real fighter in Maidana, and then we know how that movie ended. But I just think, you know, he doesn't have enough power. He doesn't have really any tricks. No feints, doesn't change levels. He does go to the body, which I do give him credit for, but he's not. I don't think he has enough in his arsenal to keep Canelo off of him. Especially like those middle rounds, when Canelo's gonna try to rally, not rally, but like kind of build momentum on the fight or whatever and try to take over.
Step on the gas.
I don't know how he's gonna withstand that. So I mean, you never know in boxing. You never know, but. Someone got a gun to my head. I'm not betting for Plant at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's an underdog, and if he does pull it off, that's one of the biggest. It's going to be one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. Mike Tyson and whoever. So yeah, the good thing I've seen about Plant is he's a little tall, and I like his legs, dude. I like his legs. He could exit if Canelo does try. Maybe he can exit, but Canelo has great footwork. He'll set he won't let him exit. So it's just like, and does he have the IQ for the landmines, for the traps Canelo's going to set? You know what I mean? He's going to set up that overhand right. So he's going to set him up with body shots. He's going to check his tendency, just like how when Saunders was going to Canelo's power hand and then Canelo was checking his tendency, took a little step back, boom, got it with the uppercut and broke his face. So he has to come out. He has to be a doctor in this fight, a black belt. You know what I'm saying? Yes. And does he have it? Does he have the IQ here, man? You fight with this, and you fight with your feet too. So can he do all that? It's not just hands, man. It's what you're positioning. Does he have rope game? Is he going to go to the rope? Because he is going to get the ring cut off, and Canelo's going to invest the body. Can he work off the rope? So yeah, man. But yeah, let's just say Canelo does get the W and does unify. Where do you see Canelo now? Like, what fight do you want to see? Because I had a little bit a debate with Cholo. Shout out to Cholo Trucker, Cholo Boxing. Canelo does not have that historical fight, man. It maybe that Triple G fight, but he doesn't have that Morales Barrera, Hagler Hearns, Sanchez versus Gomez type of fight. Where do you see him, and does he get that fight, or maybe he's just going to be easy work? And hey, man, it's not his fault that he had too much skills.
Yeah, you're definitely right about that. He doesn't have that kind of like classic legacy defining fight where like 20 years from now, that's the one like, oh, you know, when you look back at his career, that was the fight, you know. Yeah, that was his fight where like it cemented his legacy and like he became a Hall of Famer. As of right now, and credit to Canelo, he was trying to make it that type of fight with Triple G in the rematch. Yeah. But Triple G just kind of went back to his kind of Eastern European, you know, style, right? Or use the jab, 1-2, you know, box a little bit. So, but Canelo was down to make that fight, you know, after all the shit talking, you know, Triple G and Abel Sanchez were doing before. So he called their bluff, and it was still a great fight. I was watching, like I said, I was watching it the other day. Hell of a fight. But as it comes for future fighters who like might, you know, give them that type of fight, to stick out for me at the moment, I know we talked about this already, and I know we're gonna agree on the first one easily, is David Benavidez, who's the top guy. And then if he just would have handled his business and been a professional throughout COVID, I know you're gonna say, oh well, you know, he couldn't have a sauna or he didn't have his gym because everything was closed, this and that. Yeah. But if he would have kept it professional and made way, you know, this is the fight we would have been talking about right now for November, is Benavidez versus Canelo, just because he had that last belt. But I think for in the future, I'm down to see that in the near future. I think a year from now, like September 2022 would be perfect, or even May 2023, just because I want Benavidez to get a little bit more experience on their own and make it an even better fight, right? Because I feel like if they fight, like if that's his next fight after, which I doubt, but you never know. I think Canelo has too much experience, and I think Benavidez who's gifted athletically, has the hand speed, power, goes to the body, could put on a show. But I just think he still makes a little bit too many mistakes. And and it's normal because he's 23, 24, but it will still be a sick ass fight. Okay. And then the other one who might be a little bit more seasoned, and then I know you're gonna come back at me right now and be like, oh, he only has 16 fights or whatever, but he has a lot of amateur. Yeah. He has a great amateur background. Is Dimitri Bivol, who's at 175 and one of the champions at light heavyweight. And they almost made that fight happen, right? For September when the plant talks stopped, and they couldn't agree to the money or whatever, or the clause they were talking about. But if they fight at legit at 175, not a catch weight, not 172, not 171, but at 175 at his weight, I think that's going to be a sick fight too, just because Bivol does have the skill, that amateur, kind of style, where he's great at distance, that step back, knows when to throw, knows when to get out. Yeah. He does have power for 175, so he's a legit, light heavyweight. He knocks out other light heavyweights. So it's always going to be a danger, right, if him and Canelo get into an exchange. And he kind of has that, like, Triple G has a better jab than him overall and was a better fighter, but he kind of does resemble Triple G in certain ways when it comes to his boxing style, just because they both had that amateur pedigree, right, where they fought a bunch of times in the amateurs and the Olympics, I think, too. But I think those are my top two guys right now that will kind of give Canelo that fight, that big, huge fight that even casuals will want to watch, or that would be, have that super hype behind it. But I don't know, who do you got?
Yeah, no, and you know what? Let me just touch on that Benavidez. Yeah, that would be a great fight. And you know what? It was probably a blessing in disguise for Benavidez to not have that belt yet, right? And I believe Canelo's going to give him that fight, and he has more time to. Hey man, I need to get in shape. So right now, Benavidez, the kid is putting in work, man. He hasn't missed weight. He stays in the gym. I've seen the footage. So that little hiccup, it turned him into to dedicate yourself in boxing 100%, because he sees the prize. Canelo's the prize, the golden child, chase my stardom type. You know what I mean? So, hey man, it was a blessing in disguise, and now the kid's a little bit more seasoned. He's 23, 24. Hey, it's time, man. Let's get that fight. Sanchez fought at 23. Chavez was young, and he had like 40-something fights. So let's bring it back to the old school and let the kid dance. Oh, man. I still got Canelo, but the kid has a great jab, and he better not put his hands down, dog. No, don't play, dog. You better not play.
That's what he tends to do. Yeah, that's what he tends to do, right? Though he kind of admires his work sometimes, or and then it could be like the lack of, not the lack, but like the level of opposition, right? Yeah. He if he's fighting Canelo, he might not even do that, right? He might be on his A game, have his hands up, that could just be because he knows who he's fighting, or he knows who's in front of him. But yeah, dude, you made a good point too. Like, everything happens for a reason, right? Yeah. Maybe, him seeing Canelo fight Plant with his belt, kind of lit that fire, and he could be watching that fight and be like, hey man, that should be me up there. Like, what the fuck, Yeah. And everyone knows, or at least I know, like, Benavidez will wipe out Plant. Like, he wanted to fight him before, kind of for that, to get his belt back. Yeah. And he was telling Plant, he's like, let's get it on. And the winner fights Canelo. But of course, Plant wasn't going to take that risk and, let his payday go, get away from him and all that. But yeah, dude, like, one fight that I kind of compare that to was if a Canelo Benavidez were to happen, is Marquez and Juan Diaz, the first one, right? Baby Bull Diaz, right? When they got down, Diaz was in his hometown in Houston, pumped up, rushed Marquez the opening round. Almost, he hurt him too. Marquez got saved by the ropes. He hit him with like an overhand, like, left hook or whatever. I think he countered Marquez, and he landed like an overhand, like a left hook. And Marquez fell back, and he rushed him, and it became a firefight, dude. Sick ass fight. But Marquez, the veteran, the guy who's been in the ring with Pacquiao and had a bunch of big fights already, composed himself. Let the first wave hit, let that adrenaline wear off, and then he just took over the fight, and then destroyed, knocked out Juan Diaz with a sick body shot and uppercut. So I could kind of see it playing out like that, where Benavidez kind of rushes Canelo, and he might get the best of him in the first 2 or 3 rounds, and we might be like, oh shit, Canelo's in danger, or like he's in real trouble. But then I could see him kind of 4th, 5th, 6th round, as the fight kind of slows down, takes over the fight with his ring generalship, starts throwing different stuff at him, and then Benavidez just doesn't know what hits him, and I could see him getting like a late knockout, or at least like a nice little schooling. But either way, it's I mean, we could have it next. I mean, you're not gonna see me complaining, bro. So I mean, if you guys that's the next fight after this one, I'm more than game. So you won't get a beat from me. I think for just to see a better fight, I just think it benefits Benavidez if they wait around a year. Yeah. And yes, that's the promoter side of me talking and all that. But if they fight next, I'm all for it. You won't see me fucking crying about it.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing next year at the end of the year. Let Benavidez sharpen his tools, and let's get it, man. It's time, and I think Benavidez, man. I believe in the kid, and he will give Canelo the best fight that he ever seen, man. One of the best fights, and Canelo's gonna step his A game. It's gonna be a beautiful fight, man, because the kid doesn't back down. Hey, he'll take a shot, give a shot. He has hand speed too, man. He has hands, throws combinations. He has a nice stick. He's tall. He could bang inside, and he could use that stick. That stick could give Canelo a little bit of trouble, man. So, yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing that. That's a good fight. The Bivol, let me break that down a little bit. That'll be another show, but that's a good fight too. But I want to see that Benavidez, man. I want to see that Benavidez, and I want to see it at the end of next year. Now, no more playing, man.
Let me throw a quick little X factor at you, or a little kind of outside the bubble, or whatever the saying is. What about if they threw Munguia at Canelo? You think that would be a dope fight? Or is he still too small?
Yeah, he's a big kid. He's like 5'11".
Yeah, 5'10", 5'11".
5'10", 5'11". Yeah, he's a big kid. He doesn't have the IQ, bro. I'm gonna say straight out. He's good. He's gonna fight my boy, the Puerto Rican cat. He's yeah, that's a good fight. But the IQ, not yet, dog. I think Canelo will pick him apart, set him up. Nah, I don't think so.
Even with my hometown hero Morales fucking training him, you don't think that's gonna help? Like, say they fight like in a year or two.
I mean, he's getting better. He's getting better, dog. But it's like Floyd versus Victor Ortiz type. Nah, I'm just Canelo's like Floyd right now. Just exactly how a little younger, but just like how Floyd was. He was playing with these kids. You could give him the best champion, the Victor Ortiz, the Robert Gorge Guerreros, and he was too smart. Even Canelo, he got him young, threw that jab, throwaway punches. He was working. He's playing chess with these kids. They're playing checkers, man. So, it'll be a good fight. Two Mexican fighters, but this guy has too much of an IQ, man. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, maybe like, and then Munguia just moved up to middleweight. I just remember that. So he's barely like just starting his campaign at 160, and then Canelo ain't going down to 160 anymore. They said it a bunch of times. But maybe in a year or two, I mean, you never know. He might have a turnaround where, he's getting better. His boxing gets better. His defense definitely needs work, bro. When your chin is your first line of defense, that's not a good thing, especially when you're that young. Mm-hmm. Hopefully Morales kind of, sharpens him up on that a little bit.
He's getting better, man.
Yeah, he is. He's still getting hit a little bit too much for my liking. If I was like a Munguia fan, but I mean, he's a monster though. He could drop you. He's doing better at setting up his punches and all that compared to when we first started seeing him. He would just run through people. So his boxing offensively is getting a little bit better, but I still see a lot of holes defensively.
Yeah,
just like he'll stand in range too long. He gets hit way too much. No head movement. Like right now he'll get destroyed.
Oh yeah.
But maybe down the road. But I was just curious.
All right, just one last thing before I close it. Hey man, did you see what Bradley was? He's insinuating that, or he said it straight out. I don't know, that Canelo's on steroids. Like, all right, bro, that's defamation of character. If you really said that, did he say it? I don't know. I saw something, dude. You can't do that, man.
Yeah. You're talking about a quote. I forgot what channel it was, but yeah, he kind of insinuated that he might have been. He even said during the quote or during the interview where he's like, "I'm not saying he is, but I'm just saying," type of thing. Where like freaking, well, girl catches me. Well, I'm not saying that I messed around with her, but I'm not saying that I didn't either or whatever. But I mean, Bradley could say whatever he wants. I mean, I know he's kind of been kind of milking that whole Oscar Valdez situation. But when he tested positive for, I forgot what it was, something apparently he got from drinking tea. but I forgot what the substance was. But that helped him lose weight. So Bradley, like the whole week of the leading up to the Valdez fight, he was freaking throwing tantrums and saying that he hopes Valdez gets knocked out because and it's not right. What I forgot what commission it was, but that's not right that the commission's still letting him fight. It's black eye in the sport of boxing and this and that. So I feel like just because Valdez is in the same camp as Canelo, he's kind of insinuating that, well, it's a kind of Canelo Reynoso thing, right? That they tested positive for clenbuterol before, which, just to put in context, and I know that like when people always bring this up and are like, oh, well, Canelo's a fucking cheater, he got tested positive. Yeah, he had 2 urine samples that tested positive, and when they came back, the people WADA, I forgot what they stand for, not VADA, but the people they send like their samples to break it down and analyze it. The chief director said that that the levels of clenbuterol they tested positive for were small. That that he did get it from eating meat because the sample levels were so small. So I mean, people forget to add that, and then 2 weeks later, he took a bunch of piss tests afterwards, and he tested clean for them. Like 2 weeks later after the positive test. So I mean, people like talking about that and don't put stuff into context. And then Canelo said too, like, he fucked up. You could test me 20 every day, 10 pisses a day if you want. Like, I'll take full responsibility. And then he's been using VADA since the Sugar Shane Mosley fight back in 2012. He's been using VADA every fight since then. And those are the only 2 times that he tested positive with those 2 samples for the Triple G rematch. So, I mean, he's tested over 100 times with them and, it's come up clean. And then the 2 times he did, the levels were super low. So, I mean, if you want to call him a cheater, that's fine. I guess Eric Morales is a cheater too because he tested positive for clenbuterol for the Danny Garcia rematch. And our boy, El Bandito, Francisco Vargas, he tested positive for that too before he fought Salido. But people don't really talk about that. And they still fought. Morales and Bandito still had their fights come up. Unlike Canelo, who got suspended. And at the time, he was already kind of like the cash cow. So, I mean, yeah, people keep bringing that up just because of those 2 tests. I mean, I'm kind of over it now, but I mean, he could continue with what he wants. I mean, like for me, Bradley's not. He sucks at commentating anyway, so I guess he's just trying to stay relevant. Like,
he was calling the Brazilian's trainer, the Valdez opponent, Malcao, what's his name? Concao.
Yeah, something like that.
Calling his trainer Buddy McGirt the whole fight, and I'm like, that's not Buddy McGirt. And I was like, that is Buddy McGirt. And at the end, sorry, man, that's not Buddy McGirt. I'm like, man, this was an idiot, dog. When you in the at interviews or anything, were you sleeping or something? Oh, man, that guy's burnt out. Yeah, I think he's cloud chasing, trying to anything connected to Canelo. Of course, it's gonna go back to him. All the eyes are gonna go back to Tim Bradley, and and he's trying. I'm a firm believer he's trying to get Andre Ward the last fight, his last big payday, because Andre Ward's staying in shape. He's in the gym coaching, and he's coaching a couple other fighters. I think at 38, man, I think he's trying to get him one more fight, one more payday. Will he beat Canelo? I don't think so, man. He hasn't been fighting, and he's out of his prime, and he hasn't fought. Canelo's in his prime, man. I don't think Ward could touch Canelo.
Yeah, and that fight, if he does want to come back, it's got to happen soon, because in a year or two, then that shit's going to sell. So, I mean, if Ward's doing it, it should be like right away and make that happen as soon as they can. But if it doesn't happen by like at least the early part of next year, then I don't think it's – I mean, I'm not going to really get too excited for that. So, I mean, yeah, but you can't hate on him for trying to get that last payday, right? I mean,
yeah.
Got to get your money. So, and then if, Bradley's throwing him alley-oops, that's the type of friends that we need. So, I mean, yeah, dude. But when it comes to Bradley making accusations, like you said, he's probably just cloud chasing or trying to distract us from that terrible performance he had commentating and all that. But or maybe, he's still the CTE's kicking in from that Provonica fight because he had like 3 concussions in that fight. But I like Bradley though, so I don't know. I don't want to talk too much shit about him.
Yeah, Bradley's cool. I liked him as a fighter. He was no power, but he was dope. He was
down. Rob Marquez, but whatever. That'll be another episode.
We'll talk about that one. Anything else before I shut it down?
No, man. I mean, it's a good time to be a fight fan in general with like UFC and boxing. I'm just getting ready for the. Oh, what's up? Who do you got? Wilder or fucking Fury? The trilogy.
Fury, man. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. And uh, there's a what's the word I'm looking for? All right, Wilder has power, but he doesn't have skill to land that power. So you know what I'm saying? There's effective power and there's power. He's not effective with his power because he doesn't land it. He'll land it versus tomato cans, but he won't land it with somebody that has skills because they want you got to earn your shot with skilled fighters, elite fighters, with Canelo versus or Tyson Fury. Those guys have skills, dog. They won't give you too many openings, and he can't land it right on the spot. It's just some wild. Nah, man, it's no. If I hope I'm wrong, I hope I'm right. You know what I mean? But this guy does have power, but I don't think so. Yeah. What do you got?
Yeah, Fury. And then like how I said earlier with the whole plant thing, like you don't want to experiment against the best guy at that division, right? Like that's not something you want to try on, or you don't want to try it on him. I mean, that's kind of a thing where like if Wilder would have had like a couple of bounce back fights, work on his boxing or whatever, because he's been putting up those IG videos of him, boxing and jabbing and all that. If you're gonna try that, like get a couple fights under you and then go after Fury, right?
Yeah.
Once you feel comfortable. But I feel like if Fury starts out boxing him, because I already feel like I already know he's figured him out after that last fight. He's just gonna. I just feel like he's gonna go back to his old habits and just go back to his character, right? Like kind of like survival of the fittest, right, or whatever. Where you're kind of fighting for your life and you're gonna go back to what you know best. So I mean, I just think that's gonna happen. It's a little too late for that too. But if he would have had like 2-3 tune-up fights and then gone after Fury and he looked good,
yeah, exactly.
then it would have been like, oh shit, well, he knocked out this guy with his jab and he was setting up his punches. It could be a fight. Then it would have given us something to talk about. But to fight Fury right away, that's a mistake in my opinion. So they ain't taking care of
it. So. I don't know, man. He got hit. He got hit a lot, dude, with a lot of power punches, and fights like that, it ends your career. Like he could probably be damaged goods, and you know what? This is his last payday. Why take a risk in getting knocked out by a Joe Blow or getting knocked out by getting the big bag when you could go up there with Tyson Fury and get a nice bag? I don't know how much is the bag, but I believe it's gonna be nice, a good bag, and then he's gonna be Glass Jaw Joe. What if he's damaged goods and he just walks through them? But he still got the biggest payday of his life, and then he's done. That's over. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I'm ready for Fury Joshua.
Yeah.
I know we're on two different sides of that, but like I said, if it happens, we'll have an episode just on that. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of over the whole Wilder Fury thing, but he credit to him, dude. Like he's doing his best to kind of get us excited for that fight with all that trash talking and doing weird stuff. But we'll see. But yeah, I got Fury. Easy work.
All right. Yeah, we're gonna do a spill on that, but yeah, man, where can we find you for breaking news and boxing info sports? Where do we find you?
Well, I don't know about the whole breaking news part, but for Couch Talk Sports, or not sports anymore, we're just straight up Couch Talk. You can find us on Twitter, and on Apple and Spotify too. We're gonna drop some new episodes coming soon now that it's football season and all these crazy upcoming fights. And yeah, and a whole bunch of other things, man. So my favorite time of the year is the fall, man, where we have football, soccer, basketball's going to come back soon. In the NBA, and then that's where fall fights. When it comes to boxing, we get the best ones. So it's a good time to be a sports fan right now, man.
So hit them up at Couch Talk, man. They break down every sport, man, every sport. So hit them up, check them up, and beat them up. Oh no, don't beat them up. My bad. So yeah, man, Mike Angelino Sports, man. I'm Ghost.